Hey, what's up you guys? It's Dorothy and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to go into chapter 6 of One of Us is Next by Karen M. McManus. There's not much to really say right now except for it is getting juicy and I would like to find out what keeps happening, and if you do too, let's get right into this video. This video may contain sensitive topics and foul language. If you do not wish to continue, please click off of the video now. You have been warned. Chapter 6, Knox. Saturday, February 22nd. I'm about to kill my sister. Sorry, Kirsten, but you're in my way. With a flick of my thumb on the controller, Kirsten's Bounty Wars avatar crumbles to the ground, blood gushing from her neck. My sister blinks fruitlessly, presses a few buttons, and turns to me with an incredulous scowl. Did you just slit my throat? She glares at the television screen as Dax Reaper steps over her lifeless body. I thought we were working together. Our geriatric golden retriever Fritz, who's been half asleep at Kirsten's feet, lifts his head and lets out a wheezy snort. We were, I say, taking one hand off my controller to scratch between Fritz's ears, but you outlived your usefulness. Dax agrees with me on screen. It's a good day for someone to die, he growls, sheathing his knife and flexing his muscles. Just not me. Kristen makes a face. This game is vile and I'm starving. She's sitting next to me on our basement sofa and shifts closer to nudge my knee with hers. Kristen lives an hour away and doesn't usually spend her Saturdays with us, but her girlfriend is teaching in Japan for 6 weeks and she's at loose ends. Come on, pause your ridiculously buff alter ego and get some lunch with me. You mean my doppelganger, I say. The resemblance is uncanny. I put down the controller and flex one arm, then instantly wish I hadn't. What's the opposite of ridiculously buff? Pathetically splendid? Kristen and I look like the most alike of any of our siblings, down to our spiky short hair, but she has much better muscle tone from rowing crew on the weekends. Usually I try not to call attention to that fact. Kristen ignores my sorry excuse for a joke. What are you in the mood to eat? She holds up her hand before I can speak. Please don't say fast food. I'm ancient, remember? I need a glass of wine and some vegetables. Kristen is 30, the oldest of my 4 sisters. They were all born one right after the other, and then my parents thought they were done until I showed up a decade later. My sisters treated me like a living doll for years, carrying me around so much that I didn't bother learning to walk until I was almost 2. Wing Zone, I say instantly. It's a Bayview institution, famous for its extra hot wings and a giant inflatable chicken on the roof. Now that Bayview's getting trendy, new people are starting to grumble that the chicken is tacky and doesn't fit the town aesthetic. Direct quote from the letter to the editor in last week's Bayview Blade. So the Wing Zone owners are doubling down on Valentine's Day. They strung a garland of blinking red neon hearts around its neck. That still hasn't come off. That's some professional level petty, and I'm all for it. Wing Zone. Kristen frowns as we head for the basement stairs, Fritz padding behind us. Didn't I just specifically request vegetables? They have celery sticks. Those don't count. They're 99% water and coleslaw, 100% mayonnaise. The lemon pepper wings have citrus. Here's a life lesson for you, Knox. Fake fruit flavoring is not and never will be a vegetable. Kristen looks back at me as she opens the basement door, and I give her the kind of hopeful, ingratiating smile that works on absolutely nobody except my sisters. Fine, she groans, but you owe me. Sure, I say. She's never going to collect, though. Come here, Bruce. Sorry, my dog was taking stuff out of the trash can. Sure, I say. She's never going to collect, though. That's the upside of having sisters who think they're your mom. Our basement opens into the kitchen, and we get upstairs. My dad's sitting at the table, hunched over some paperwork. He looks a lot more like Dax Reaper than I do, now that he owns his own company. Dad doesn't necessarily have to do hands-on construction work, but he still does, which makes him the most in-shape guy in his 50s I know. He glances up, and his eyes flick past me to the boring kid who still lives at home and twinkle at Kirsten. Didn't know you were still here, he says. Fritz, who's always liked my alpha male father better than anybody, leans adoringly against his chair. She sighs. Knox roped me into a video game hell. Dad frowns because he thinks video games are a waste of time as opposed to the actual sports ball games, which he'd love for me to play, but he just waves the folder he's holding at me and says, I'll leave this for you to take to work on Monday. What is it? I ask. Letter of intent. We're going to hire a couple of those de angsto exonerers, he says. I got a packet in the mail the other day from Until Proven. Great, except he didn't get it in the mail. I brought it home and put it on his desk with a note, which I guess he never even noticed. Kirsten beams, fantastic, Dad. Way to set an example for local businesses. My father and Kirsten are strangely amicable pair. He's this conservative macho old school guy who somehow gets along better with my bleeding heart lesbian sister than he does with anyone else. Maybe because they're both athletic, take charge, self-starter types. Well, it's worked out well so far, Dad says, pushing the folder to one corner of the table. Nate's a good worker, and you know he's got A's in both of those classes we've covered last semester. Kid's a lot brighter than he gets credit for. I mean, he gets plenty of credit in this house, but okay. It's so great that you're doing that for him, Kirsten says, and the genuine warmth in her tone makes me feel a little prick. I don't have anything against Nate, but I can't shake the feeling that he's the son my father wishes he had. I grab my sweatshirt from the chair where I dropped it earlier, pulling it on as Kirsten adds, want to come to lunch, Dad? We're getting wings. She only grimaces a little on the last word. No thanks. I need to get back to work and finish up our proposal for the mall parking garage. It's been sitting empty for much too long, and frankly, it's both an eyesore and a hazard. He frowns and turns back to me. One of my guys said he heard a rumor that kids have been cutting through the site. You seen anything like that, Knox? What? No, definitely not. I practically yell it way too loudly and empathetically. God, my father makes me nervous. His frown deepens and Kirsten tugs on my arm. All right, we're off. See you later. We're through the front door and halfway down the driveway before she speaks again. Work on your poker face, Knox, she mutters, pulling a set of keys out of her bag and aiming them at her silver Civic. And stop taking shortcuts through abandoned construction sites. It's a sunny but cool Saturday. I pull the hood of my sweatshirt up as I slide into the passenger seat. It was just a couple of times. Still, Kirsten says, climbing in beside me, it's my duty as your significantly older sibling to remind you how not safe that is. Consider yourself warned. She turns the motor, and we both wince as music blasts through the car at the top volume. I always forget how loudly Kirsten plays her radio when she drives alone. Sorry, she says, turning it down. She glances into the rearview mirror and starts to back out of the driveway. So I barely got to talk to you during that creepy bounty hunter game. It's still bullshit that you killed me, by the way. Not over it, but what's new with you? How's the job? How's the play? How's school? I'm going to leave it off right there, and I will see you guys in part 2. Bye.